Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm coming to you from Rocky Mountain National Park once again. I'm on Old Fall River Road. A friend of mine told me that this was a good hotspot for wildlife, although I don't think that I'll see anything just because of the time of day. I figured, while I'm in the area of like this park and Estes Park, I might as well do the drive. So here I am driving this freaking off-road road in my Toyota Camry. But I wanted to make a video that's a little bit different than something I'd normally put out up until this point, but just like a lessons learned in the context of photography. So literally this morning, I filmed a video for you guys about some elk. And of course, I have my camera and I'm going crazy. I'm ready to like take pictures of things. And I made a pretty big mistake. So I saw a couple male elk, a couple bulls, and the lighting wasn't like ideal. They were like in the shadows, and I'm sorry about the shaking camera, guys. Like, there's only so much I can do, but the light wasn't ideal. They were in the shade, so like the little light that was coming through the trees was super harsh. But in any case, I completely forgot about the settings of my camera in that moment, and I was just going crazy trying to get pictures of them in general, because I was also off trail in Rocky Mountain National Park. I was definitely sure to give these guys their space. I wasn't trying to get super close because I'm not an idiot and these things could kill me if they wanted to. So I, was far away enough where they probably knew I was there, but like they didn't acknowledge it. But like I said, I was so hyped to see not one, but two male elk that I completely forgot about my settings. And something that I realized is that the way that my camera, or I should say that the way that my photos come out the best in the moment, is when obviously you have to be coherent of your camera's settings, or coherent probably isn't the right word, aware of your camera settings. But I'm just thinking about the behavior of the light and how that affects my camera, right? So like, obviously when you're in full auto, you don't worry about anything. It's just point and click and the camera worries about it. Oh God, I'm sorry guys. So I've been trying to train myself to shoot in manual mode, just in general, because I feel like it's been helping me to develop my skills. And I mean, honestly, overall, it's been working, but I guess I started to second guess my skills at some point because I switched to aperture priority, which, it's not good or bad. It's just, it's preference. And at the end of the day, you still need to understand settings of photography, the the exposure triangle, in order to progress in, your skill, which would be, ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. So with aperture priority, you can set it so that you don't have to worry about the other two settings, shutter speed and ISO, because you're setting the aperture to what you think it should be, and then the camera will do the rest. And I did that a couple weeks ago, and I was doing a photo shoot for a person, a girl, a model, and that bit me in the ass because I completely forgot about the other settings in the moment. I mean, obviously because I was in aperture priority, but it was bad because my camera went wild with the ISO, and the ISO went like insane. And with Lightroom and Photoshop, you can like denoise the images, but like they definitely degrade in quality if the ISO is high enough. Like, there's definitely an acceptable layer of ISO to set in a given situation where it actually like can enhance the image really well. Obviously, it's a very, very, very situational thing, but it's like, I've taken pictures with high ISO and they've been great, and they've like saved the image when you can't adjust the other 2 points of the exposure triangle. And it's funny because, before I found those 2 bull elk this morning, I was shooting manual the whole time, but I was focused on the behavior of the light. And like, and when I say that, I'm talking about how like I'm focusing on, okay, like it seems a little dark, I want to let more light in through the viewfinder, so that means I have to drop the aperture to like whatever my lens's bottom is. So let's say it's an f4 lens, drop it to f4 to let in the most light. And just thinking about the situation in those terms, instead of just like focusing on like, I don't know, sharpness because, the higher the aperture is, the more generally in focus things are supposed to be through like the depth of field. That's like the aperture in a nutshell. And the aperture does have like the highest effect on the overall image. But I find that like if I like when I'm playing with the aperture, I still don't get the exact image that I'm shooting for in that moment most of the time. But if I'm thinking about, okay, I want to let in more light to be like, make it more bright or whatever, and I drop the aperture or shutter speed, and if I can't go any further, then I jump to ISO. In those contexts, plural, like I'm actually able to do good work. So I don't know if you're new to photography. It's something that is like, I've been doing it for a few years, but it's something that you can just keep consistently learning and just learn something new every day, because it's like such a freaking hole. And that's not bad per se, because it's just something that takes a long time to master. But I'm 3 years into this, and I'm just now starting to, I feel like I'm getting good. So that's something that's really started to help me. It's like in the moment, and I'm shooting, and I'm thinking about the behavior of the light, as opposed to like getting the sharp image or whatever. Usually that is when my images will turn out great. Like with those 2 bull elk, I definitely gaffed it because the ISO was too low. And like I said, I was just hyped that I got to see a couple bull elk, but I still was able to see them at least, even though I gaffed the picture. But in that moment, I should have bumped up the ISO. And I'll show you guys like the raw image as well as the edited image, or at least my attempt to save it, because I don't really have high hopes. But that being said, I hope you get something out of this. I just want to kind of talk about this concept of photography and just my like learning lesson, Something else that I've also tried to do in the past is just keeping the ISO low in general. And I mean, while it is usually the one setting of the 3 you want to keep lowest, when you need to bump it, you can't be shy. You got to do it, like, because that'll save your image. It'll literally save your image. So that being said, let me know what you guys think of this video. I don't know if I did a good job explaining this. I could definitely make a more coherent version of this that wasn't just me trying to explain it on the fly as I'm driving in a national park. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree or disagree or whatever. And I look forward to seeing you in the comments and in the next video.